everybody, and welcome to the Contingency Plan Podcast. My name is Jedi Master David, and with me as always is Darth Austin.
Hello, everyone.
All right, man, back for another week. We are going to be looking through another book. This one is, it's a little itty-bitty kid's book. Oh, it's your baby book. It's amazing some of the reviews on this book here and there. Definitely a younger reader book called Star Wars Padawan. We're getting the epic Kenobi dump and all of that good sort of stuff. Well, technically, we did the comics last week, and now we're running back through and doing another Kenobi thing. So
we're obsessed, completely obsessed
with Kenobi. But yeah. So this should be a good one. Hopefully, we'll see what we thought of the book. You've obviously had a really, really fun, eventful day trying to get on the Zoom call for us to do this podcast. Yeah.
I just kind of was feeling nostalgic. I want to do things the old way, the terrible old way we used to do it. For the 6 months or so, I didn't have a laptop. I'm at that point again. My laptop decided to blue screen of death on me today, so I was able to kind of recover it for half the day. I thought I was good, and like 20 minutes before this Zoom call, it did it again. So,
yeah, that stinks. That stinks, man. I mean, I have an old MacBook Pro, and I went to turn it on because I haven't used it in a long time, and I was gonna wipe it and then try and sell it, maybe. Mm-hmm. And so I did the whole wiping procedure, of which I've done a few times on Macs. And I don't know what it is. There are a couple of fixes out there there are a couple of reasons that people say it happens, but like it will not load the operating system at all. And you can't reinstall it and all this stuff. So that thing's just donezo, but it's fine. It's an old MacBook Pro. Nobody wants that thing anyway.
yeah, I had tried to set up my old gaming PC from like when I was still a teenager, lifeguarding. I figured, well, at the time it had really good specs, so maybe now it'd still be halfway serviceable, and it has all the specs to run everything I need, but age and dust and moisture just, does this thing, and I don't think it's worth putting any more effort into. Just the process of like getting all my stuff installed isn't even worth the time right now with this desktop. So
you can,
I'm just gonna go shopping.
Yeah, you can go and get like a decent, solid state drive laptop for about nothing anymore.
Yeah, just a decent basic Windows 10 laptop. I'll probably only spend like $300-400 on something now and then get something better down the line.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did recently too, mainly for work. But yeah, just got like a $350 HP thing, and it works. It's not going to run your Fortnite, your whatever games you're playing over there, but it'll do. It'll do for the time being.
No, this one I'm gonna make sure is as clean and easy to transfer as possible. I won't be doing any gaming on this one. I don't have time or really desire for it anyway.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's always kind of a crappy thing to happen.
It's something I always took in stride before. Now I'm a little more reliant, obviously, on it. So trying not to stress out too much. Luckily, I'm not going to be behind on school or anything because of it. So
good.
I can't complain. It's been a decent week other than this.
Yeah. What else have you gotten into, huh?
Not a whole lot. Tuesdays, typically, and I would go out on the lake for a little bit. Did that last night. Had some pasta, and obviously Saturday was a big day. We had our gender reveal. You guys got to come down for that. Found out I'm having a little girl. About 4 months now. Nothing's on fire around me at all. It's not starting to feel hot or stuffy in here. I can still breathe. It's okay.
Oh, boy.
No stress at all.
Not even a little bit of stress, huh?
No, none whatsoever.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's good then. Yeah, nothing really too much has happened this week either. Yeah, obviously we did come down. Just been mainly doing more prepping of the house, so to speak. Yeah, just work. I am taking the truck into the shop. One of the mounting brackets for the exhaust busted, and I was hearing this squeaking sound, and I was like, well, I do know I have to go get new brake pads put on. So maybe, like, man, get the frog out of my throat. Maybe they've worn down too much and they're starting to get, a little metal on metal action. And me and a girlfriend went out for breakfast, which actually was more lunch at that point. I got a giant club sandwich, which was pretty darn good. And discovered that the one little diner in town that we ate at does fresh cut fries for lunch. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, really?
But
nice.
But yeah, I was parking, and I heard it squeak as I turned it off, and I went and I just kind of put my foot on the exhaust pipe and like squeaky squeak. It's like, oh, that's what it is. So I looked under there, and it's just one of the mounting brackets just popped. They're welded on there, but over time, that sort of stuff happens. So I'm going to take the truck over tonight, drop it off, and then have them do the brakes, and have them just put a weld, like a sheath and a weld, over that spot. And Bob's your uncle. Actually, not your uncle, but whatever, it's fine.
It's our dad.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's your father. But yeah, nope. Aside from that, just working. The higher ups were in town this week, so had to do those higher up things, which is super, super fun.
Super not interesting. Super just annoying.
Yeah, no, they're never interesting. Went down for lunch today, and every now and again, like our little cafeteria in our building tries. It's like they try to do something. Now it's not always great, but they try.
Right.
So they had like a pho thing. It was just it was either chicken or tofu, and they had the bean sprouts and the noodles and all that. And it was decent. It wasn't bad. It was decent. I dropped a shit ton of chili flake in there though. Like I was gonna put a little tiny bit in there. I just dropped an entire spoon so it was warm. And then they had these little buns and stuff. So one of the buns said it was supposed to be a pineapple bun, and I was like, sweet. Guess what? It was not pineapple at all. It was just a bun. It was like a sweet bun with like a sweet top, and I was super disappointed.
Hawaiian roll or something.
I was so disappointed. Like no pineapple at all. So anyway, first world problems.
That's what you get for expecting good free food.
Hey, well they had the what's the tea with the chewy stuff in it? That.
Oh, what is that called? I'm gonna look it up. It's like all that my desktop is good for. Just random Googling.
Yeah, there you go. Well, anyway, they had that down there the other day, so I'm sitting there drinking Thai tea or whatever, milky tea with tapioca.
Boba.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Boba tea.
So with these little tapioca balls in it, they had like other fruit flavored ones. It was this taller, like the redhead Viking thing going on with the pulled back hair and the beard and everything. He's like,
yeah,
I don't really recommend like putting the fruit ones in with the milk teas. So probably just a normal tapioca. It's like, okay.
It's always the guy that's doing something like that, like making your meal or making your drink that looks like he might kill you with an axe if you piss him off. It makes no sense.
He wasn't quite that big, but he was getting there. A couple more rounds of his tea. But no, it was decent. It is kind of strange though, sucking on tea and you get a bunch of balls in your mouth. Pause.
I'm not gonna say anything about that, but I will say
I was trying to set that joke up for a while.
That it's just kind of weird that like that's the only drink that does that. Like you don't get in smoothies or anything else. It's just that one particular thing.
A lot of people love it though.
I'm not surprised. Or I'm sorry, I'm surprised it's not a trend like with other places. I'm not complaining. No. I don't want it.
Well, a lot of people love it though. A lot of people love the boba. I mean, I even though I couldn't remember what it was called for some reason, I've heard about it a lot. I did a boba kit, like an instant boba kit, for my YouTube channel once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it wasn't as good as this one, but the one we got was super sweet. Way too sweet. Way too sweet, dude. Yeah. Way too sweet. So, anyway. Well, that's it for weeks. Yes, congratulations on procreating and that procreation being female. That's good. Kind of cool way to light it off, though. You had some fireworks, which was neat.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I found out no one like got a video of the fireworks for some reason.
Oh, were they just doing your reaction or something? They were all
trained on our reaction. I guess they didn't care about the actual look of it, which is a little disappointing.
That is a little.
Yeah, it was funny. The final firework to actually reveal it shot up so high that there was a bit of a delay.
Yeah,
like everyone knew before I did.
Well, no, there was funny. A delay, and I was like, did it dud, or is there another one coming? Then all of a sudden, pop. I was like, oh, okay, now we know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone who set it up knew how much higher that would fly than the rest of them. So I'm sure they don't really go over that very much in the instructions for those things.
Probably not.
But yeah, just glad no one complained about that. I guess it's the time of year where you're allowed to set off fireworks. We're getting so close to Labor Day. I don't know. Didn't even check before we did it. But worked out just fine.
No doubt.
Good way to do a reveal.
So yeah, man, good stuff. What do you think? Ready for a book?
Ready for a book. Fairly decent sized book, about 7 hours on Audible, 400 pages.
Mm-hmm. Yes, author Kiersten White and narrator Gary Furlong. This is basically Kiersten White's first foray into Star Wars. You know, pretty much like I think our last book we read had a short story in the Certain Point of View book.
Yep, Eyes of the Empire.
Which is interesting. It's interesting that they're doing that. It's like, hey, if you write this, like maybe a little while down the line, you'll just like get to write a book. Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool way to do it, and I think this is probably a good book to throw at somebody instead of like one of the big books. We've talked about that here lately. It seems like certain people are getting bigger books than they might deserve. And maybe deserves a harsh word.
Right. Now, I will say this. She seems to be relatively busy. Kind of pumping out like a book or two a year, so really hitting the ground there. Obviously, I don't know any of these. Does look like she did like some Buffy the Vampire Slayer books though, or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess. So that's kind of cool.
More recent ones or older ones?
2019, 2020. So yeah, recent-ish. Yeah, she's been writing for a few years here, relatively up front. And I don't remember if we discussed this on the last episode, but I was like just for a second on Twitter, probably posting like normal, but I did see one of the writers kind of, I don't want to say complaining, but kind of expostulating on some of the pain points for writers. And, when you get those advances and so forth, like what's actually involved in that, how much you actually get at the end of the day after blah, 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 blah. So some writers, especially if you're not like well established, do have to pump these things out, because if they don't, they're not really making a ton out of that. And there's so much self-promotion as well that you have to do. Although if you are writing, for like, say, Star Wars, there's obviously like a built-in audience and kind of a built-in machine. But I think the problem with them is it wasn't like through Del Rey. I think it was through like another publisher or whatever. So anyway, it's half a dozen of these, half a dozen of another. It is what it is. But like, yeah, some of these writers, they do have to work pretty hard for that to be their full-time gig.
Yeah, unfortunately. And we have kind of talked about this before. It kind of pushes them to force a trilogy out of maybe what really should be in one book.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to have some of these shorter stories that are one and done.
Yep.
They can actually get an entire thought across. And they certainly did a good job of that in this book. I thought she, for this being more of a young adult reader's book, I thought a lot of the topics were pretty heavy and well taken care of for the age range. And yeah, good, refreshing book for sure.
Yeah, so I think we should stop this really good conversation. Just start talking about watches. So have you bought any watches yet? No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, obviously now I'll have to use all of my watch money on a computer now. So,
well,
there's
dude,
that. But, well, hopefully here soon. You never know.
Wow. Fine, man. Fine. Okay. Well, anyway, I guess we should get into this book. We are, again, not a huge Audible read here. About 7.5. I don't know what that really winds up being for you on like whatever 3x speed you use, but I know like for me, I listen to this at just normal standard speed. So did you amp this one up at all?
Yeah, I did amp it up a little bit. I mean, maybe 1.5 speed. I think it ended up being like around 5 hours.
Okay, that's fair.
This was actually a fairly slow done book compared to a lot of them.
Yeah.
So this felt like normal speed to me, honestly. Yeah, it was a nice bite-sized book. Didn't have a lot of issues there. Seems like a lot of the young adults books have been really short lately, so it's kind of a nice change of pace, I thought.
Yeah, I could see that. And this Gary Furlong, I mean, he's kind of another guy, obviously like has a wide credit list here, but nothing that I know. Looks like a lot of like romance novels and stuff. A lot of books with dudes with their shirts off and like murder and more dudes with their shirts off and another shirt's off. Oh, look, a guy with his shirt. Oh, look, a dude with his shirt off. I'll be darned. Book about blood, so just seemingly fits into a category there.
Right.
Oh, boy. But anyway, so this particular book, it would be set before Master and Apprentice, which is one that we do really enjoy, which kind of told the story of really Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan finally getting on the same page. Told us a lot about the struggles that not only Obi-Wan had, but that Qui-Gon had as well with Obi-Wan as his apprentice. Some of the more inner political stuff of the time, and then kind of took us on a bit of an adventure. And this book kind of follows suit. Now, I will say one thing. I don't want to like dive to the very end of the book, but I was a bit confused by the timeline in a way because like in the beginning, they're very clearly not on the same page, which tracks. But by the end of the book, you start to feel like Obi-Wan's like accepted his master a lot more. But then we get into Master and Apprentice, and it's like, not really. It's like kind of seemed a little bit back and forth there, if I'm just being honest with you.
Well, to be honest, it's almost framed in such a way that the timeline's kind of unambiguous. Like potentially this could be right before Phantom Menace, which it obviously isn't, but doesn't it kind of seem like the way it ends, they could have just led right into the movie in a way?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I could see where you're coming from. I mean, I think what she was trying to do was set it up for then going through the master and apprentice line. But yeah, I mean, it is rather ambiguous, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of a meh thing.
Yeah, and also super hypercritical here, but this is a really bad Qui-Gon. If you listen to it on Audible,
acting.
For those of you who read it, yeah, if you read it, I'm sorry to bring up something that means nothing to you, but it was kind of jarring. It was just, I don't know, not a terrible guy, but not great for Qui-Gon's voice.
No, yeah, definitely not a Qui-Gon. Not a very good Qui-Gon. I will agree with that. So we sort of start off here, with Obi-Wan basically failing to meditate. Like, he can't seem to get meditation down, which is something that he had already done as a youngling. I mean, they say that in the book, that it came more naturally, and now he can't. He's not meditating. He's trying too hard, and he doesn't feel that Qui-Gon is giving him any direction, right?
Yeah, it's almost like they flipped the script, because from what I remember, and pretty much everything that I've read from Obi-Wan literature, he wasn't necessarily that great of a swordsman or a Force user, and now it's acting like he's on par with everyone else in that front, just not as in tune with the Force. He just uses it as a tool. He just can't really commune with it yet. I don't know. It's kind of a odd restructuring of his time as a Padawan.
Well, the Obi-Wan lore does kind of go back and forth a little bit here as we go along, but I think what they're trying to establish is that, one, Qui-Gon put him through saber combat at a pretty epic level. Effectively, that's all he's doing. They're not going anywhere. They're researching a lot, and then he is going through all the forms. And this is something that we do see continued here as well in this book, and we see some of the payoff for that. But it's very much sort of a thing about, like, okay, so you're at the, in quotations, top of your class. You know, you're really good, but you basically try too hard. You're questioning yourself too much. I don't really know. I felt like early on, I felt like the writer wasn't really capturing Obi-Wan very well. Now, changed my mind a little bit when we got into the book, but that first little bit of sequence there, I just didn't really feel like it didn't feel like Obi-Wan to me as much. Well, I'm sure that Obi-Wan is
felt like
capable
an old man more than anything.
What's that?
Kind of felt more like an old man than anything at first.
Yeah, and I mean, Obi-Wan, at least in Master and Apprentice, was definitely more of like by the rule book, I'm going to make decisions based upon what I know, but my experience is lacking. Therefore, I'm not always going to make the right decision. This is an Obi-Wan that doesn't even feel like they can make a decision at all.
Yeah.
Or not much in the way of decisions. They're so indecisive. So then it's like almost maybe the story is that you were so indecisive that you became over decisive, and you're still misreading it. It just still feels a little bit
Yeah, they even kind of throw in a story near the end of the book, like an example of some training exercise he was doing where he had to choose one or the other, and like the ground collapsed out from underneath him, and Qui-Gon told him sometimes it's just better to make a decision than to make none.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess just to see where we were with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan to where we get to with Master and Apprentice, it doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense to me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, almost like there's another book in between coming down the pipeline, maybe.
Well, which even then I don't think would make much sense, because at least for me it wouldn't make any sense. Because like, again, like I feel like it's like we're not on the same page. By the end of the book, they're on the same page, but then we're back off the page and then we're on the same page again. It just doesn't, I don't know. It just seems a little contradictory to me. But
yeah, I would have to agree.
But it is kind of neat to see his little friends, his little Padawan friends here. Who are his Padawan?
Get a little more mention of Siri and who else were there? Let's see.
Yeah.
Names were kind of rough on this one for me.
Pre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pre. Siri. I don't remember the other male Padawan.
Was it Oj? Oj Sedal?
No. That's one of our people from later on the planet that we go to.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember their name, but it was kind of one of those deals where, like, you know, we're playing tricks on Kenobi, but we're actually kind of jealous of each other, but at the same time we're working together and all. I don't know. But Kenobi's main thing here is all these Padawans, all his friends are going on missions. They're getting off planet. Why can't I go off planet? I never get to do anything.
You need to help with the harvest this year.
Just one more season. Just one more season, and then we'll talk about it. So then we go from that to Obi-Wan wanting to meditate, going to try and meditate in, what was it, whatever room it was. And he discovers something left there by, a couple of our old favorites, and old Comac and Orla Jareni.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, interesting to choose these two out of all the people we could mention. It was kind of nice, like people I actually would have picked.
Yeah, it is a little strange. I mean, it's convenient. It's High Republic, so we're gonna. Oh, hey, you remember those two characters that you really like that we just murdered blatantly by some stupid monster because we're dumb? Yeah, I remember those two characters. Hey, you want to hear about them again? No,
You want to have people ponder on why they didn't do what they said they were going to do, like 200 years later or 400 years later, whatever the timeline is.
That still really upsets me about that book.
Yeah.
When they killed off Orla, that was a stupid move. Who wrote that one?
It was a stupid book. Let's just be honest.
Who did write that book? What was it? That was Fallen Star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where they.
Yeah, I believe so.
Claudia Gray.
Yeah, the one thing she did wrong.
Yeah, Claudia Gray. Did Comac also die in there too?
I'm trying to look him up right now. So many pop-ups.
Yeah, it's really cool when you just go through an entire thing of pop-ups and nothing's in like actual alphabetic order.
So, Comac was one of the four who traveled aboard the Starship vessel to the Starlight Beacon, only to be forced off course due to the Great Disaster.
This is riveting.
This is a long one. Oh my goodness. Yes, the darkness aboard the station.
The darkness aboard.
Oh my goodness, this is long.
Darkness. The darkness inside.
Return to Coruscant. We're not even close. Return to the station. Wow. I didn't realize he had so much of a story.
No, okay. So I think that this was the whole deal where he was okay, but he basically effectively becomes a way seeker, right? because now he's not happy with his whole Jedi life.
He's not the one who helps. Who's our kid with like the dog thing that shoots fire?
You're really hurting me right now because I just don't remember these people that much. He was actually okay.
But maybe that's where he dies, because that old guy sacrificed himself. This guy doesn't look that old though, based on the picture.
I don't think it was Comac. I think it was the other kind of like, I don't know. He was like the really laid back guy that didn't really have much in him.
Yeah,
I think Comac was fine, but Orla definitely.
Yes.
Orla definitely bit the dust in there, which was a dumb move. That was probably one of the dumber moves.
Well, you cut off a lot of the more potentially interesting stories, because what's more interesting than a Wayseeker, honestly?
Well, I mean, they could have just done a standalone book with her, and I think that would have been more interesting than half of the junk they're trying to. And look, I don't want to be mean about it, but it's really not good.
No. Like,
some of this is just really has not been good. Anyway, we're not in Starlight Beacon. We're not in the High Republic. We're, about 3 years after that, with Obi-Wan, right? Because we keep shifting those timelines. So anyway,
that's right.
Obi-Wan finds a mysterious planet on the wall, and what are these signatures? Oh, this is so cool. I should look up Orla, because screw that Comac guy. Nobody cares about him. He's stupid and weird, which I just thought was funny. And he finds, some information about her, and basically puts all this forward to Qui-Gon that it's like, hey, we gotta go to this planet. We should go see what's up. We should go see what this Wayseeker.
The Force told me to.
Yeah. What happened with
totally while I was meditating.
Yeah. The Force drew me to it. I promise.
I'm not lying again, Master.
Yeah.
Don't give me the hose again, Master.
Oh boy. Put the lotion on the skin. Anyway. So Qui-Gon agrees. He agrees though. And they prepare to go off on their little adventure, but oh wait. Qui-Gon doesn't show up, and Obi-Wan, in his infinite anxiety, puts together a story that, he's gone off with Dooku, and then they're going to be lost Jedi, and everybody hates me, and I'm stupid. I got to do this on my own. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
I think he needs a weighted blanket in this book.
Oh, God.
Instead of a robe, just a weighted blanket with a hood.
3 or 4 Xanax and a weighted blanket. Poor guy. Anyway, he does go off on his own. He's got his little droid pal, Aces.
Yep. Good old A6.
And, they find a beacon out in space and totally pick it up, because that's what you do. Just picking up space trash, and then find a living asteroid field.
And then you get called a space trash.
Yeah, that's right. Get in a weird, funky asteroid field, or able to get through that and find our planet. And we're off and running, meeting kids, getting our lightsabers stolen, and moving planet that's trying to kill you.
Not starting a relationship with anyone very awkwardly.
Yeah. So as we move along here, though, we do find that there are, I don't remember how many kids there were, but a few kids on this.
Like almost a dozen, I would say.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But they're living,
including the younglings.
Yeah, but they're living on this planet, and how are they surviving? How are you gonna survive just eating those fibrous fruit pod things? And like, what else do you guys do? What's your history? Where are your parents? Why is this ship here? What's that thing do? You ask a lot of questions.
Why doesn't technology scare you? You're like 3rd generation on this planet.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess we could. Do we just want to jump to like the harvest section and kind of like explain the entire picture here, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of jump right in.
All right. Yeah, might as well. Some of the mystery is revealed once we go on what the kids are calling the harvest, which is diving.
Power.
What's that?
And the power.
Yes, and the power. Diving into a gash in the landscape and stealing a bunch of glowy pods from a pond or something and just eating them like eggs. Give me an egg. And lo and behold, these kids who have displayed force powers, jumping and speed and agility and all this stuff, we find out that they're not force sensitives. They're not actual Jedi or anything like that. They've been eating these things which give them the power.
I have the power. Yeah. Hom nom 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 nom.
So Obi-Wan's very confused. He realizes that some of the things that he feels on this planet that are wrong are actually these kids. And these kids are trying to tell him, it's like, look, we've been here, man. Our parents laid down this whole thing for us. Like, some of them left, but we didn't. We wanted to stay. This is our home. The planet's hostile. This is how we have to survive. We have to, do the harvest and eat the pods. And if we don't do it, we won't survive. And who are you to question us and all this stuff? It's kind of an interesting, moral question, but really it's actually a really lame moral question. It's just that Obi-Wan's like a kid and he can't really explain it to him yet.
Yeah. Half the arguments are just like, I wish I could explain what the Force actually is. And common sense. I wish I could explain common sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's like this field that surrounds us and penetrates us. Wait, you're trying to penetrate me? No, I mean, it's like the field tries to penetrate you, not me. God. Anyway, the planet's alive, by the way.
Not only is the planet alive, it is one being, basically. Symbiotic.
Yeah.
Extremely symbiotic.
Yeah, even the asteroid field.
Where these kids are basically just being attacked by white blood cells. They're just a virus.
Yeah, the gobbler plant monsters and the avalanche rock things and
the death trees.
Yeah.
We got our Harry Potter trees.
Yeah, the Whomping Willow, right? Yeah. Storms. The planet can just conjure up storms. That's pretty fun.
Force lightning.
Yeah.
I mean, power lightning. Just power lightning.
Power lightning.
That's the one thing that wasn't actually explained with the whole thing where he's seeing what everything is doing to give to the planet and take from the planet. Where are the beings that are just producing, severe lightning storms?
I think that's just the planet using its atmosphere, right?
Yeah. I would just like an explanation for that just gets all epic.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't really do much
spiel.
on that, do they?
Yeah.
Anyway, one thing I did find interesting is that all different species here. We even have a species that, effectively, when they're young, can't live out of water. They basically...
Yeah, we have a Kit Fisto's species. We've got some Twi'leks. We got a Changeling, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Actually, probably my favorite character of all of them, not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure pronounally they called them they, them, but
yeah,
it was a pretty cool character. A lot more level-headed, I think, than anybody else. A little bit more apt to see the truth of the situation than our siblings. Was it Castle?
I think,
and I don't remember what the female the sister was called. I can't remember.
Which was effectively the leader, correct?
Basically, yeah.
And then our Changeling character, I believe they had a thing going on, and seemed like they were more interested in just keeping her safe and trying to live another day than to pass on the family legacy.
Right.
Same with our creatures or our species that had to be in the buckets that needed water. The Fistoites.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before
But there again, if you're stuck in a bucket, why would you care about the planet either?
Well, yeah, I suppose. But I mean, they were a lot more ready to leave, though, as Obi-Wan started to explain things, because they can't live in the water in the planet. They would, be killed. Now, before the harvest, though, Obi-Wan does find a cave with some cave paintings of a former civilization who lived on this planet and took advantage of the power and basically wiped themselves out. And conceivably, the kids' parents had tried to destroy some of this cave, and after Obi-Wan kind of moves a few rocks, because that's what the Force is for, he finds an old data chip from Orla Jarini, who was making a log. And essentially her, last deal was, I'm going to go help out a friend. Elzar needs my help. And, she was never able to come back, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. Let's
kind of.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect how he just kind of discovered something from her, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say it seemed forced, but,
Well, let's see here. So I guess kind of moving on to the next big thing, we have low grib. So low grib, Mikian. That's the species of low grib, and then the brother and sister.
Okay.
And Logrib was one that was taken from the planet who didn't want to leave. And so he's been trying basically most of his life to get back. But we find out that the ancestors who went off the planet, they did it for moral reasons. They kind of saw what they were becoming and they didn't like it. And they cobbled together their ship and they erased all flight paths so they could never come back. So Logrib's keen idea was to leave beacons all over space and hoping somebody would find it and take it to the planet, because that makes sense. What the hell was that? I don't get that at all.
I have no idea. It's like you didn't even set these anywhere near the planet, and what would that actually like, you just thought it's not like this is just a long-lived species that can wait 1,000 years for this variable to happen. It's just kind of stupid.
What also happens if the beacon is lit, but it's not that planet? Like, it just
right.
Like
so
somebody
you're just constantly going around checking.
Yeah, somebody finds it and takes it to Coruscant or something like that. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. That's a huge kind of plot hole, like an overly convenient plot hole that I don't get it personally.
Yeah.
But he makes it with a giant.
Well, it made more sense, like, if they had found something on planet that would have activated a beacon so he could have found the planet again.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just seems like that would have been a lot more natural and sensical.
Yeah, but instead, his beacon's lit and he brings his big old mining ship to the planet because he's a bad guy.
Bad guy.
Yeah.
But you know who isn't a bad guy? We got a support character. Mm-hmm. It was pretty awesome. Well, anyway.
Were you going to say who it was?
Kenobi,
old buddy.
Was it Jax? Dax. Oh, my God.
Dexter Jetster, man.
Dexter.
Dex. Not even Dex.
I call it
Dex.
I say Dexter when you say Jexter.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I think.
Yeah, Dexter Jetster. Old Dex, who we see in Clone Wars.
Yep. Kind of a odd first meeting. in a way.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. This was the first meeting of Kenobi.
We're best friends after this. Like, well, you didn't do a whole lot together, but that's cool. It's better than nothing, I suppose.
Well, conceivably, they had more adventures together. Or at least something else, other meetings. I kind of think it was kind of interesting, that this is the book we chose to show how they first met. And the fact that Dex is actually not a bad guy. He was trying to help, and he was also trying to make money, but when he realizes something was wrong, he tries to do the, in quotations, right thing. Because technically he does come out on top in the end, but...
Right.
But anyway, I it was an interesting sort of like, oh yeah, I remember that guy.
Hey, remember? I don't think I knew he was a minor, honestly. I don't think that's ever mentioned.
I mean, it's not like I would know anything about him either. I haven't deep dived into the Dex lore. I just remember from the movie.
Right.
But anyway, the idea... Logrib's idea is to just mine this planet, take all the power. He has a wealthy benefactor who, totally not a potential Dark Lord.
No, I mean, that's not mentioned at all.
It couldn't be a Dark Lord of anything. But, yeah, has a benefactor, but really just wants all the power for himself. He doesn't want to bring it back. He just wants to rule the planet and doesn't care about the kids, even though these are his niece and nephew and all that. He's just basically planning on getting rid of everybody. Even plots to kill Kenobi because he doesn't want the Jedi to get involved. Has a real hatred of the Jedi. I wonder why. I wonder if his benefactor hates the Jedi.
Yeah. And when you think about it, if anyone who's force sensitive got the power, it's pretty much game over. I mean, there's realistically no way to stop them when you think about how much it multiplies just his power level. If it even works that way and they can actually... Because we don't really see Kenobi doing anything with the power.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because would it matter for a Force user to have this? Would it... I mean, because what we do learn is that this power has diminishing effect. You basically, quarter your lifetime?
Mm-hmm. I mean... Yeah, it's definitely a dark side type power.
Well, it's not even really dark side. It's just the fact of the matter is that you're literally eating a planet. You're eating its life force, and the life force is dying. It's because it's not a part of the planet anymore. You're absorbing its life energy, and it's not natural. It's almost more like Dathomirian witchcraft. It's more like witchcraft than force anything really.
When you think about it, it's kind of odd the way they framed it because the way they explain all that, you would kind of think that the planet would start to look, decrepit, decaying, and it seems like it's still pretty lush and beautiful place.
Yeah.
Seems like you would have, something more like Dathomir, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is an interesting point. I don't know. But regardless, we're here to mine it. We're going to mine that power and take it and do weird stuff to it and lick it and stuff.
We won't talk about it ever again.
Yeah. Well, essentially, Kenobi's on the job. He finds the little bomb they planted on his shuttle, going around showing the kids that, hey, you can live with these little plant creatures. They're pretty cool. They're actually kind of nice, and just give them back the little glowy balls and put them in the flowers, and then they'll be fine with you. It's like
gobblers can be like your pets and stuff. It'd be awesome.
You can ride a gobbler into battle.
I don't know. Wouldn't that be pretty similar to our, again, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but our Padawan with the fire-breathing dog thing, minus fire, kind of same creature. Bell Zettifar. Yeah. Thank you. That was driving me insane.
Yeah, it just popped into memory there. But anyway, so conflict becomes, don't trust the Jedi. He's trying to play a trick on you. but I want all the power for myself, but I'm totally, no, I don't care about you kids. You're stupid. I'm going to eat all the orbs and throw rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo!
Kind of missed a bit of the third act there. He didn't stay good for very long.
No, he really didn't. He let his intentions be known fairly early on. So yeah, bad guy takes the power, eats several orbs, and I don't know. I thought our whole confrontation was a little meh. You know, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a really quick and unsatisfying end to it. I mean, we had our breakthrough moment with Obi-Wan way early on, like being able to sense everything around and whatnot. It just seemed like that would have been the best moment to let him, beat him without a cheap trick. Which honestly, it was kind of funny how he ended up beating him, but I don't know.
Well, I didn't really have a problem with the way that he beat him, but like Logrib isn't a Force user. He's got he's strong with a blaster. These aren't like, this isn't like fighting a Sith, and it's not even really like fighting a droid either. It's just a random dude who throws rocks at you and stuff, and Obi-Wan's really not ready to take life, so to speak. Right. I mean, ultimately he does, obviously, in a manner of speaking. But kind of towards our climax, we have Castle, who's like, kind of turned on the other kids. He's like, he's my uncle. I picked wrong. I'm sorry. It's like, I'm going to crush him. You better go get in that cage over there and throw me your lightsaber or I'll crush him.
Flick.
Well, I mean, our
we get a little more than just that.
Well, our sister character is like, well, you better shoot him now or I'll crush him and then I'll kill him and I'll kill you. But if you kill him, you guys can just go over there. It'll be fine.
It's kind of weird how he framed that. Because, like, what made him think that she would be able to shoot him and kill him that easily anyway?
Well, I don't know.
He's the one with the power. Why isn't he going after him?
Good God, your dog is going ham, man.
Yeah, she's not happy, and I can't reach her, so hopefully that doesn't pick up on the audio.
I'm sure it does.
Trying to get her attention. She's just depressed.
So anyway, we do dispatch our villain. I don't really have much more to say about that. It was fine. I don't even know that Logrib was even wholly necessary. It didn't really feel like a fully formed thought either to me. But
no, I mean, I feel like that story could have had no major villain and been fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. So anyway, the kids have to leave though because they did wind up using the power after their planet truce. And at that point, we're at, there's nothing to be done. The planet's not going to trust you again, so y'all got to leave. Fish people are cool with that. Everybody else is kind of cool with that. We've already decided we're going to give up the power, and we sort of leave the planet with Dex, and Dex takes them off and does, I don't know, maybe finds him a nice orphanage. I don't know what he does with him. And then Obi-Wan has to go back to the temple to face his master.
Which is very anticlimactic.
It's like, I'm so sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to go without you. It's like, it's cool, man. Did you
want to meditate?
Did you send me out to my certain death on purpose? No. I just slept in. By the way, why don't you have a
chair in your office for me? I thought that was the funniest thing to complain about. It's like, really? He doesn't have a chair in his room for you.
I will say this, though. I kind of felt like maybe midway through the book that Qui-Gon intentionally let Obi-Wan go on his own because he knew that Obi-Wan wanted, above all else, to go on a mission. And he's like, well, this kid's going to have to sink or swim. Don't tell the council about that. But I'm going to let him go, man.
Just overslept.
Which I don't believe for a second. I think he totally knew it was up. Heck,
he'd be more freaked out about it otherwise. Would have seen like transmissions trying to raise him or something.
Well, it also makes you think because like Qui-Gon was very studious and like maybe he ran across this. It was like, yeah, Obi-Wan's ready. Obi-Wan's ready to go, I don't know, figure out this mystery.
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously one of the Jedi who valued study and research above most, so I'm sure at one point he has probably heard about a lot of Orla's feats, so wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah, I'd assume so. Super irresponsible, though.
Yeah.
Crazy irresponsible.
Yeah, no, he totally almost lost his Padawan.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. But, and the plus side, Obi-Wan does learn how to meditate finally, and he does the floaty thing. That's pretty cool. So he can feel an entire planet. He basically he basically felt up an entire planet with the Force.
Right. Yeah, that's not weird at all.
It's not weird.
Is it bad that I imagine the whole rock throwing contest going down the same way as like his fight with Vader?
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
Now I have the power.
Oh,
man. His arms up.
Well, anyway, I mean, that's kind of the book, though, really. You know, we discover the Lost Boys in Neverland. You know, they're zooming around there. And then we got to bring them back down to Earth and tell them that they're all dead. I mean, what?
Yeah, basically.
Neverland, right? Yeah, not an analogy for anything else. But yeah, no, it was what it was. So
yeah.
What else? Not anything else you need to talk about plot wise?
No, not really.
All right then. Well, I guess we get to ratings. What are you rating it and why? Out of 5.
Always iffy with this gray area, but I don't want to seem like I'm super negative on the book, but it had some plot holes that were kind of odd, and I felt like the fact that we had to have a villain at all was a bit, I don't know, shoehorned in. I feel like the villain of the story could have just been consumption without providing, and, you know, just Obi-Wan growing as a Padawan, you know, reaching out to the Force a little bit more, being able to understand it and explain it better. But other than that little tidbit, it wasn't a terrible book. It was well written, and, you know, Obi-Wan's anxieties and issues were kind of nice in a way. So I'll give it a 3.6. Not terrible, but not going to really go much higher than that.
Okay, fair enough. You know, another book it kind of reminded me of was that first Vernestra book. Remember that? Where we're just a bunch of kids on a planet doing kid things?
Yeah. That.
Yeah.
A little bit better, I would have to say, but yeah, that book. I mean, not this one.
Yeah. But. So Goodreads has this at a 4.1. 422 ratings. Amazon 3.9. Now, I guess I kind of forgot about it until now, but there is the whole potentially like Obi-Wan questioning his sexuality thing, which I thought was like crazy small. They were just talking about like kissing.
Wasn't that with like what was his name? Shell.
Yeah, Castle. He's like, I want to figure out kissing. I was like, oh yeah, kissing. Yeah, bro, kissing super cool. I'm not kissing you. I'm not kissing them. I don't want to kiss anybody.
You're weirdly hairy, but not hairy at the same time.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of a very small thing, but like, I know there were a lot of bombing reviews there that were a little angry about that, I guess. Overall, the story was fine. It wasn't anything crazy out of the way. I did find myself interested in finishing it though. So I'll give it that much. Like I didn't want to stop it or anything like that. But it felt like at times narratively there were some things that were said a few different times over again. And like some of the just general writing could have been perhaps a little tighter. The story was okay. It felt like there weren't really as high as stakes when you brought your bad guy in. And I know that there are a lot of other books that would have really exploited the kid's power. Like you're telling me that not one of these kids ever wanted to face off against Obi-Wan, you know, like actually test it. You didn't have that one bad kid. They're all good kids or whatever. So I don't know. That was a little, you know, it was fine. But yeah, it wasn't anything super special. I think the biggest problem I had with it was in the beginning, it didn't really feel like Obi-Wan. Of course, you know, we're talking about younger, so that's okay. And then throughout it, it didn't feel like a good setup for Master and Apprentice. It kind of felt like it was living on its own island and not paying enough respect to one of the best books that Disney Star Wars has put out. Probably
almost like it came before it.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, maybe you should have thought about that a little bit more, how it fits in from a continuity standpoint, because I just think that the relationship of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan was very precarious in Master and Apprentice, and now it feels like it was precarious and it was mended, and now it's back to precarious. Just sort of a little bit of a hodgepodge in storytelling. And then again, our bad guy, like that whole beacon thing was such a cop out. I didn't really understand that. You could have made your bad guy more intelligent, but it's fine. So yeah, it wasn't a bad book. It wasn't a great book. I'm probably just gonna give it a nice even 4. It was enjoyable. I don't think it adds much to Star Wars lore, so to speak. But yeah, it was serviceable. It was a decent little book. Not bad. Well, all right. Anything else we got to chat about before we get everybody out of here? Look, just over an hour on this. It's crazy.
Yeah, being a smaller book, I'm not super surprised there. But no, I think we've kind of talked about everything worth talking about on this one.
Very good. Very good. Well, I still owe you a potential list of stuff to do. Just all the house stuff is kind of screwed with my timelines, but I'll get something out to you. So we're not going to tell you what's going to come next week. You'll just have to figure it out when we put it out, because we don't know right now.
Just let me know by Sunday so I can actually consume the content.
Yeah, I'll figure that out. But anyway, folks, hopefully you enjoyed the episode today. If you'd like to interact with us, obviously find us on the social media, Twitter, Facebook at TC Plan Podcast, or just send us an email to tcplanpodcast@gmail.com. Be happy to talk about your theories or thoughts or whatever you got there, as long as it's Star Wars. But that is it. So y'all have a good rest of your week.
And as always, may the Force be with you.